dit is Kleurnet. Maar het is ook bijna het nieuwe millennium. En ik word ook nog 50 deze maand. 13 december. En voor die gelegenheid hebben we een aantal mensen naar de studio gehaald om te praten over leeftijd, over het millennium, over wat tijd betekent, over wat cultuur betekent. Een zeer gevarieerd gezelschap. Mensen met een achtergrond in de techniek. Iemand die uit de fysica komt, schrijvers, mensen uit de videowereld. Kortom, een zeer gevarieerd gezelschap. En daar gaan we mee praten. En ze gaan met elkaar praten. En we doen het in het Engels, want dat is omdat de meeste gasten uit landen komen waar ze dat spreken. Niet alleen uit Amerika, maar zoals Nick Franks, die komt uit Engeland. En dat is mijn eerste gast. Nick, welcome. Nick Franks, you are industrialist in the audio field. And now
I was.
And now you are into alternative healing.
I'm making a study.
You're studying this.
I'm studying this in a rather in-depth way. And I'm treating some people, of course, which is the best way to study.
Now, this century has seen the coming of, say, what we call allopathic medicine, where we found drugs and we found ways of treating people that kind of took the symptoms away, but they didn't really go into the whole person. The way of medicine you follow is more like holistic.
No, this is a conflict which has been going on for more than several thousand years between two models of medicine. One is what we can call the rationalist system, from which present-day allopathic medicine has grown, and the other is the vitalist system, which is we've found in most folk medicines, and now in the modern tradition in homeopathy and in radionics. So it's a different thing, and the idea of rationalist medicine is that you can take the human body, as it were, and look at it like a machine. You can say this bit is this and that bit is that, and we can fix this bit just like you can come along to a car and change the engine, change part of the body.
Yeah, but look at, okay, your left arm isn't working, let's fix the left arm. But
that's right.
The reason that maybe your left arm isn't working because your right arm is stressed, we don't know.
Well, it might be. In the vitalist tradition, we have an idea that the body is a complete system combined with the human person, with the energy field of the human, and it's a displacement of the energy field, a defect in the energy field first of all, which causes disease.
Yeah, we're already mentioning something like energy fields. Now we know some people call this aura or etheric bodies, and there's a whole theory about it. But when you go to a hospital and you say, "Well, I think there's some red in my aura," people say you're crazy.
Well, because they don't know about it.
The doctors don't know about it. They don't accept it.
Yeah, but you have to understand there is a place for allopathic medicine, because if you're in a car crash and you get broken bones and so on, you don't go to a homeopath.
No.
You go to a hospital and you need a surgeon.
Yeah, but that's what we call traumatic experiences.
Yeah, traumatic, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where allopathic medicine is, of course, fantastic.
You break your arm, they take care of it.
Yeah, they take care of it. Or, you need some cosmetic surgery or something. This is what they do fantastically well.
Yeah.
What they don't do fantastically well is treat chronic diseases. This is the big problematic area. People get arthritis and they get cancer and they get any vast range of diseases.
I had a recent experience with arthritis. That I developed arthritis and I couldn't walk. I couldn't. Really very painful situation. I read the books. I went to the hospital and the doctor said, "Well, let's do some tests." And it takes 2 weeks. And they said to other doctors, and the test said, "Yeah, well, you do have arthritis, but we don't know really where it comes from. But here's a pill. It's called prednisone." And I took that for 3 weeks, and I felt like a blown up balloon, and you got all kind of side effects. And then after 3 weeks, a doctor friend of mine, an alternative doctor, came along and he said, "Stop that. That's very dangerous stuff. This surely will kill you. This stuff, this prednisone or prednisolone, whatever, it only takes away the symptoms, but in the end it will kill you. It's like the cure is as bad as the..." But then he gave me 2 magnets, fairly big magnets. He said, "Put them under your feet, sleep with them." And in one night, I could walk again through the magnets. I called the hospital and said to the doctor, I've been cured. I don't need your stuff anymore. Cancel all the appointments. And then he said, "Oh yeah, but this cannot be. This cannot be the magnet. There must be some other reason. You must have taken something, or it just went away by itself." Well, I was pretty sure that it was the magnets.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there's a vast range of alternative therapies which are available to us, many of which are very cheap and very simple. And for example, in Britain we have a huge crisis in the National Health Service about money and about treatment and availability of treatment and how are they going to fix all of these problems people have. There's a lot of very cheap therapies which can be done, but because they don't fit the paradigm which the medical profession likes to use, which is its own importance and the big money and so forth, and of course the backing of the drug companies, a lot of these therapies are kind of pushed on one side and people don't know about them. Or if they hear about them they think, well, it must be a load of rubbish, it could be, won't work, and some of it doesn't. But some of it does, and that's the point.
Now, your speciality in alternative health is radionics. Now,
homeopathy and radionics.
Homeopathy and radionics. Now, tell me what radionics is. It sounds like you're using radioactive stuff, or not?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, so it's not that. It's where does the word come from? Where does it come from?
I think it comes. Radionics was something which came out of the beginning of the electrical and electronic age, with a man called Albert Abrams, Dr. Albert Abrams, in San Francisco in the 1880s. And that was when electrical technology first appeared, and a lot of people working in health got excited about the idea of using electricity to heal. So we have a lot of obscure technologies which you can still find if you look. For example, the violet ray. Have you heard the violet ray?
No. What is it?
You have a kind of vacuum tube, and you make a static discharge of electricity inside, so you see the violet electricity, and you can put it on, for example, skin growths and problems like psoriasis, and it makes a static electric field and it can cure it. So this was an early electrical invention. So
now doctors do use electricity because, like, if you have skin problems, they have some kind of electric device and they kind of burn it off.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different. Yeah. But, they have a thing called a TENS device. You heard of the TENS device? It's a kind of pain relief device which puts minute electrical
very minute electric pulses, and then you feel better. Now, we know that our whole nervous system is electric, so it makes sense. Still, devices that were claimed to cure cancer, the Rye devices, there were many inventions done in the States, usually were either forbidden by the American Medical Association or ignored or not accepted. Why do you believe in things like radionics?
Because I used it and I can see it works. It's simple.
Yeah, but someone say this is self-hypnosis, this is illusion.
Yeah, they could say that, but I'm not a kind of self-hypnotizing kind of person. I spent 24 years running quite a large company in electronics, and I sold electronic equipment all around the world and to Japan and so forth. I don't think I'm a self-deluding kind of person, but I'm very empirical. I don't want to believe in a fantasy. If someone says, this works, I say, okay, I'll take it and I'll try it, and I'll see if it works.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And so you have tried it yourself, or you have tried it on other people?
Myself and other people.
Yeah. Now, in the States they would say that what you're doing is unlicensed medical practice. We put you in jail.
Probably. But as it happens, I shouldn't say it, but I have practitioner insurance in the UK.
Oh, so you, in the UK can do it.
So if someone comes along and said, you killed me, and they want to sue me.
Now, in the 15th and 16th centuries, and especially, around the Qatars in the 11th and 12th century, people who did this alternative medicine, and the Qatars is a good example because they worked with the laying up of hands, and they used this energy that you call radionics or chi or whatever to heal people, and they were burned on the stakes.
Well, now they just put you in prison.
They just put you in prison.
Yeah, it's easier,
Now, do you think we went to an age of rationalism, of cures, of drugs that were developed by big firms, that the next century, the next millennium will have a different energy, like a revival of the magic?
I think what tends to push things in this world is necessity, and not necessarily what's good. And the necessity which is pushing health at the moment is sickness. And people are so sick with so many things which cannot be cured by conventional means that they will look in other areas. And the first area which people have to look is toxicity. Toxins in the body, because the food they eat, The water they take, the air, everything is completely toxic. You know, we use these mobile phones, and some people now get brain tumours and so on and so forth. So the first problem to deal with in most cases that you see is toxins in the body. The liver is toxic, the kidneys maybe gets into fat. For example,
so you're saying what happens to the fish we eat, and people tell don't eat this flat fish from the bottom of the sea because it contains too much, say, heavy metals, happens to us. We're becoming carriers of these.
Well, it's a certain proportion of it can be picked up and taken into your body. Or aluminium, maybe use aluminium cooking utensils. Some people will be susceptible. Not everyone will be susceptible. Because one of the things about the new type of medicine is the treatment is individualized. You know, a normal medical system, 100 people come with arthritis, and maybe they're going to give them a choice of 3 drugs. With what I do and what people like me do, every treatment is very individualized to the person. You make a study of the person, so it takes a lot longer. You can't see 30 people a day in your surgery, or 50 people like a normal doctor, and you know, here's some antibiotics and here's this and here's that. It doesn't go like that. But what you do try and do is to get deep into the person's problem and try and really cure it as opposed to treat it, which is a different...
But that implies that people's sicknesses are rooted into psychological things in their body, into disbalances and that kind of stuff.
It can be.
It can be.
Yeah, if you use a mobile phone and the mobile phone projects waves into your brain, then that's not a psychological problem necessarily. On the other hand, maybe if you know, for example, I had a case of a man who stammers, and because a dog attacked him when he was 3 years old, and he stammered for his whole life, and he's 63. This is a psychological... Hello?
Yes, all the phones ringing.
Edit that out. Stop that tape. Put it on.
No, but so what you're saying is your way of treating people, not treating people, first finding out what they are, and you use that radionics. Now, do you use devices for that?
Right. We use instruments in radionics, and the idea is, the basic idea in radionics is that every material thing and every quality has an energetic signature. Does that make sense to you? Energetic signature?
It has.
We'll call it an energy field.
Yeah. And
we can make what I can call a coded description of that energy field.
Is that the same as what Rupert Sheldrake calls morphogenetic fields? The form fields of something?
Yes, personally I think it's very close.
It's a different word for the same thing.
It could be. I contacted Rupert Sheldrake because I want to try and study this phenomena with him, to see if we can make some experiments which could prove it somehow, or prove his theories, which I think are important. Mm-hmm. And I know other people working in radionics also think that Sheldrake has the right idea.
Well, he basically has an inquisitive mind, and he asked the right questions too.
So we need to bring these two parties together and see if we can make an experimental program which demonstrates something. And this is kind of like physics with consciousness or something like that. This could be interesting.
Now, there's people who believe that the world in itself is an organism, that Gaia, that the whole Earth is an organism. If you believe that, then your way of healing people could also work for healing the world or larger organisms.
It certainly has been used very successfully in agriculture, and there is a very good description of how it was used and statistical supporting evidence in the United States in the 1950s. But when the farmers involved stopped buying pesticides and fertilizers, the chemical companies went to the Department of Agriculture and complained about radionics, and eventually after a few years it was banned.
We had
so you see, now you have polluted soils and so on and so forth.
Well, we had it in Holland where they're called earth radiation devices. Farmers would put them in, but now 20 years later we say, oh, that was crazy, that was just superstition. Isn't that dangerous? I mean, you come from a business background. People think you got a little bit weak, superstitious.
Well, let them think what they want. Do you think I care?
I don't think you personally care, but that's
I'm interested I'm interested in the results, and the results, in the end, everything that we're dealing with is manifesting on the physical plane. At the end of the day, if you get sick and you have a tumour or you have some kind of lesion or something like that, however it started, whether it started in your emotional conditions or whatever, it manifests on the physical plane. So if we treat and it goes away, then that's the proof that it worked, isn't it?